Welcome to the IP Communications and VoIP community. We're at vuc.me on the web. We would like to thank for your support Simwood.com. Simwood can turn you as a developer into a telco with their world-class API. Check that out, simwood.com. Our hosted PBX is from onsip.com. The website is hosted at bluehost.com. And where would we be without zipdx.com, the full-featured HG voice conference bridge? Local rate dial-ins from voxbone.com. Our next meetup in Europe is in Madrid, June 6th and 7th at TADHack. Go to tadhack.com to get the scoop on that.
Okay, then we are live again with Ziva Nissan, who is a senior business-to-business video product manager. I hope I got that right, Ziva?
Yes, you did. That was just fine. Thank you.
And Ann Finney, who I'm just meeting today. Ann, I'm afraid I don't have your title in front of me. Would you like to say hello?
Oh, hi, everyone. I'm a global PR manager here at Logitech.
So you're in the right place, Ann. We want to talk to you about lots of PR that we can do for you.
Thank you.
As I was telling Ziva, and those of you who haven't seen it yet, the BCC 950, which is a really nice product. I guess it's not part of the. Is the 950 part of the business? Not the same line, is it?
Yes, it is actually. So it is something that we develop specifically for professionals. There are consumers that use it as well, since we make it available throughout web online stores. So, but yeah, it was developed with the professional in mind.
Okay, so this is a product that I appreciate a lot, and Michael likes, and many people who do this conference are using them as well. So that's why I thought, well, maybe it's more of a semi-pro, but it's a professional level, and I'm talking about the BCC 950 to kind of introduce what we're going to be talking about today, which is the CC3000e. And in fact, eventually I may ask you about the naming conventions, but before we do, I wanted to mention, first of all, that as I was telling you earlier, the session we did a year or two ago about the BCC 950 was very popular. It's got over 11,000 views, which is a lot of views for something like this, as I'm sure you realize, and has elicited a lot of interest. So I'm sure this one will as well. And let's talk about the origin of this product, if you will. First of all, who are we? Because this is a little bit, it's much higher price point than the 950, and it's a full. It's not just a camera that can that with a mic. It actually has a lot of other features. Why don't we get into who this product is for Ziva, if you will?
Okay. Well, you've talked a bit about the BCC 950 and the success that we've had with that product, and one of the major feedbacks that we got when we came out with that product, and again, to remind people, the BCC 950 is a conference cam solution with a speakerphone and a pan, tilt, and zoom camera that you plug into your PC or Mac, fire up an application like Hangouts, and you're ready to have a call that can support up to 5 people. And people just really love the product. They said that the quality, the feature set of the product, it's just what we needed. We need to be able to quickly have a video call anywhere, in an office, in a small conference room, and being able to quickly take it and connect it to a PC or Mac and fire up our favorite application, whatever that application may be, as long as it supports USB video and audio calling, was just super. So getting back to this big request that people had, they said, how about if you were to build a bigger conference cam, one that may be hosted about 10 people, something that we could situate in our conference room, maybe a little bit more permanently, but that was still portable enough that we could move it around if we needed to, and it had a bigger audio and a bigger video, so that we would, sorry, let me get back in the, in the video here. So we would have a, we would be able to show maybe up to 10 people, bigger audio, bigger video, a bigger zoom so that we could do greater collaboration. And they just basically wanted the conference cam, but in spades, 10 times the product. So we came up with the Conference Cam CC3000e, which is a speakerphone and webcam together, but it's like the BCC950 on steroids. As you can see there from the image, we put the components separately. So the BCC950 is an all-in-one unit that has the speakerphone and then the camera on a stem. This was a unit that folks, would appreciate being able to mount the camera further away from the speakerphone. So, in comparison to other systems, you could have the camera, let's say, on the wall and bring the speakerphone to the middle of the table and also have the range and the feature sets of the video to capture a larger group and a larger area. So if I can just talk to the device right now, the camera, as you see, and you see everything hooking up into a single PC there, but the camera is a 90-degree field of view, which is quite wide as far as webcam cameras. And the beauty of that 90-degree field of view, or that very wide view, is that we've also engineered it so that there is no fisheye, there's no distortion. So in some wide-angle lens, sometimes you see objects not as they really are. I could put my hand up and it will look 10 times bigger than it is, or objects look much further away, or you have, again, that fisheye look or the bent look of the video. Where with this 90-degree field of view, it will be like looking at somebody through a window. It will have that clarity. And as a matter of fact, you're looking at me right now with that same video quality. It also has a 10x zoom. So, for instance, I'll show you later the video when we can go to full screen on my video. But you can zoom in 10x and look very, very clearly at writing on a whiteboard or collaboration on a flip chart, or if you wanted to focus on the speaker in the room and just see that person very clearly and what they're holding up as far as, as far as a product or as far as something that you want to see, you have that ability to move all around the room. In addition, we support 1080p, so you're going to get the greatest resolution, and at true 30 frames per second for great speed, no latency, great color saturation, all the bells and whistles you need for a professional video call that supports that many people. We also have some other features like you can set a preset, so meaning when the camera wakes up, you may have it mounted in a specific position where you need it to be tilted downwards or to the right. So we let you set a preset so that when the camera wakes up, or if you automatically want to go to a specific hand tilt position, you can definitely do that. Okay? So that's a bit about the camera. It also, by the way, supports H.264 and PC as well. So with applications that support that encoding-decoding standard, you can do all of the processing on the camera, not on your CPU of your PC or Mac. Okay?
Question.
I'm sorry. Yes, go ahead.
I wanted to make a quick comment that may not be obvious to people, which is that the way you're set up today, Ziva, you and Ann are set up in a way that you're able to show the product. So your audio is not really the way it would be if we were actually just doing a simple conference. And that's something that probably needs to be said simply because this is not just a conference. You're actually doing a demo where you're showing the product. So the product is not perfectly placed for the audio that it should be. And Michael is now, let me just also, since I interrupted you already, Michael, are you now on the, you're on the 3300?
I maintained the audio on my headset just for simplicity's sake, but I have the product, the speakerphone sitting in front of me, and the camera is about 12 or 14 feet distant, and I deliberately put this sign behind me that has a whole bunch of type to get some idea of where we are and zooming and whatnot. And to speak to her point of field of view and this sort of thing, don't mind the foam core blocking the sunlight coming in my doors here, but so this is just a phenomenal. My office is 22 by 20, so about 400 square feet, which is about exactly what the specifications describe the microphone range of the speakerphone. So, but I just thought that I would sort of interject a little sort of live demo, and you can zoom right on up. If that were a whiteboard, you would be able to go right on in there and see my hand scratch on the whiteboard. And I'm actually contemplating turning that wall into a whiteboard with that whiteboard paint. So that's interesting. anyhow, I didn't mean to interrupt your flow, except to say that we have 2 examples of the actual device in action here live today.
Yeah, that's working beautifully.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead, Ziva. I just thought that would be good to interject that because Michael's all set up for that. Go ahead.
Oh no, I appreciate that, and you look really good, and you sound very good too. And so thank you for demonstrating that as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Happy to be of service.
All right. So the other thing that you see, I don't know if you want to bring that image back up.
Can do.
Okay.
What will we be talking about this next go around? I have the camera, or I have the hub.
Let's look at the full device as you had in the first slide.
Okay, 1 second. There we go.
Okay, so we've talked a bit about the camera, and as you see in the middle there, you see something that looks like a puck. That's actually a hub. What we did also is we had all of the components plug into a central hub. So the speakerphone and the camera, the USB, and also the central power all hook up into that central hub nice and neatly. The reason why we did that was, again, to give you one central focal point to plug everything in, but also, being that it's USB, it gives more length. As you know, USB has some conditions about the amount of length that they will provide. However, by doing everything in a central hub and having a powered hub, we were able to provide a 32-foot length from where you put the camera to where you put the speakerphone. So you can have the speakerphone much further away than the camera, and that way you can outfit a conference room very nicely. So if you look at the speakerphone there, you can see again that everything hooks up into that central hub, and as well as the speakerphone. And let me just finish up with the hub there, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the speakerphone. So the hub has the 4 ports. The 2 ports on the right, as you see, is where the speakerphone and the camera hook up. And then there's a USB port, so there's a mini USB connection there that hooks up into your PC or Mac, and then the power on the left. Okay, so the setup is super simple. As a matter of fact, we qualified how easy the setup would be by bringing in people who were non-technical people who worked in finance or administration or HR to come in, set it up, and start a group conference call. And they were all able to do that within 5 minutes, even less than that. And we didn't tell them how to do it. We didn't say plug this here. We just handed them the box and said, set this up and start a video call. And they were able to do it in a matter of minutes. So you don't even need to be an IT person to start using this device. Okay, so we've labeled everything. We've made it nice and neat. Let's go to the next slide.
Which one would that be?
Oh, let's go to the speakerphone.
The speakerphone. I have the speakerphone all on its own here.
Okay, great. So the speakerphone is just a magnificent video quality. It has a 20-foot range, diameter range around the speakerphone itself. And as you can see there, you can get readouts of your call, so you can get caller ID. It will tell you, of course, the volume and give you the function feedback as well. It does full echo cancellation, noise cancellation, full duplex. So you start talking, I start talking. We don't cancel each other out. And the sound pickup and the sound itself is just phenomenal on the speakerphone. In addition, we've added an interesting feature that many people are responding to well. We've added Bluetooth to the speakerphone. So if you didn't want to use your PC, for instance, and you brought in your mobile device, so your smartphone or your tablet, you could pair to the speakerphone. And let's say there's Ann and me and about 5 other people walking into the conference room. I can call my manager, who's on a business trip in New York City, and we could all talk to him through the speakerphone, so that we weren't all trying to huddle around my tablet or my smartphone. We could get the sound of a full speakerphone solution using my mobile device as the client for calling up my boss in New York City. And people are just loving this. It also has NFC enabled, so if you have an NFC enabled phone, you can just tap to the speakerphone and then start your call. So folks are really, really eating that up, saying this is great. We would love to be able to use our mobile devices more for group calling, and sometimes I just need to call somebody quickly, but it's just hard to get the sound I want out of my mobile device. So the other part you see is on the base of the speakerphone itself, you have a little console there, and it gives you all of the controls you need for your professional call. So you can answer and hang up a call. You can also, as I told you, set that preset. So if you wanted to, again, set the camera to a certain position, you can do it. You have the volume controls. We also have another interesting feature that works with some applications, and that is far end control. So if I wanted to switch between panning, tilting, and zooming my own camera to panning and tilting and zooming let's say Randy's camera, I could just switch to being able to do that, and I can move his camera around instead of my own, so I could get a better view of what he's showing me. Of course, we also provide Randy the capability of not letting me do that. So suppose there's something back there he doesn't want me to see, he can say, no, Ziva, I'm not going to allow you to pan, tilt, and zoom my camera. So that is available in some applications where that feature is actually available in the application itself, and we can write to that. In addition, we also threw on the camera control. So you see the zoom and the pan and the tilt there as well on the base of the speakerphone itself. Sometimes you can't easily find the remote, or somebody has it somewhere else, and so you can reach onto the speakerphone itself and control the camera. Okay? So there is the remote control. The remote control also docks very neatly into the base of the speakerphone itself, so you can always keep it safe. And of course, the device comes with all the bells and whistles you need to know what the call state is. So it has an LED to show that you're streaming audio. It has an LED to show that you're streaming video. And you know, all the feedback that you need, again, on the LCD and on the device itself for a quality professional call.
A question with respect to the far end pan tilt control. Is that device specific? That is, does that work with another Logitech PTZ camera, or is it open to sort of any kind of interop? And what client applications support that at the outset?
So excellent question. So I'll answer your first question. So you could have either a CC3000e or a BCC950 on the other end. Okay. So how it would work is both ends have to have the application. I'm sorry. Let me back up. Both sides have to have software that is supporting that far end control. So you asked about what software is supported. So Microsoft Link today can support that. We provide a plugin for Microsoft Link, and so let's say it was me and it was Randy and myself on the call. Each of us would have to have that software installed. In addition, Vidyo, the company Vidyo, supports it natively. So within their application interface, they can support far-end control, and they can support our devices in far-end control. As far as the devices, so only the receiving end, meaning the person who is on the far end, has to have a CC3000e or a BCC950. I can have a regular webcam on my side, and I can pan, tilt, and zoom your camera, as long as I have the software on my side to support it. So was that clear?
Sure. And okay, similarly, so then. And are aspects of that software, or the accessibility of the PTZ, if somebody wanted to interface it to, say, a more standard VISCA-based, which is an RS-232 protocol, is the information available if somebody wanted to write an interface to do that?
So what would be available strictly through USB video class? So if you have an ability to write to UVC, then you can write to the PTZ, because it's standard.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I return you to your product photography.
Yeah, we might,
Okay. All right.
We might want to see if there's any other questions in IRC or on ZipDX or anything, or even, well, we don't want to get Carl involved this early in the call.
While we do that, somebody in IRC had asked had made a comment as to why I was using a headset versus the conference phone itself. It just comes down to the specifics of how we're using some software set up on my computer that it's I can drop off and go to the conference phone at some later point, but for the moment it's easier to use a headset. And here's a little bit of information, because it's hard from a shot like this to know how big it is.
Okay.
But there's a reference for you. That's one of the more common and costly business class conference phones. So, and that was actually shot here in my office a couple of days ago, and I just comped them to give you some idea of what's going on. And you'll notice on the review model, I haven't taken the little plastic seal off because we want to say.
I was just going to point that out. That is not the way. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. There you go.
All right. So anyway, that in a nutshell is the device. Again, it will work with any application that is supports USB video or audio on a PC or a Mac. It is certified for Cisco Jabber and Cisco WebEx, as well as Microsoft Link 2010 and 2013, of course, and then there's also Skype. And these are specifically programs that have certifications, and we are also fully integrated with video as well. But it again will work with any application that is UVC based, and all of them, you know, are today, just like we're looking at Google Hangouts right now. So this whole, and we will give you everything. We also provide mounts for both the camera and the hub. So we provide you a mount that you can hang the camera on a wall, or you can elevate it on your table if you want to keep it on the conference room table. And we also provide you a way to mount the hub if you want to, you know, tuck it under a desk as well. So all of this, plus the remote control, everything you need, you just need to bring your PC or Mac. All of this is available for $9.99 US. And we make it available worldwide.
The question in IRC is Linux, and oh, sorry, no, I should have been on. We should have been on Ziva's video. The question was about Linux, but I think the answer is that, as you said, if you can write to, forgive me, UVC, is it the norm, the standard? If you're writing to UVC, it doesn't really matter what platform you're on, I guess.
That's correct, and so Linux is supporting UVC. We don't officially support it, but it should work.
Right. A quick comment too. Skype just started allowing multiple conferences. So actually, if you had a group of small businesses, you know, like maybe some draftsmen in one town and there's some other part of the company in another town, or even in the same town for that matter, you actually with Skype would be able to do some pretty hefty conferencing. You wouldn't be able to do the PTZ remote, but you would be able to do, I don't think, anyway, with multiple conferences. But it's an interesting thing that these things are all being freed up. So these Hangouts, I mean, without taking necessarily taking advantage of every single feature, you've got a pretty good room that you could be connecting to several other rooms rather than just a single other room through the technology available.
Absolutely, and what's nice also, I think what customers really like is we don't limit them to just one solution. So we have calls here all the time at Logitech where some folks will be on a CC3000e, and another person may be at their home office on the BCC950, and another person might be using a C930e camera, you know, at a remote location. And so because of the flexibility of USB, you know, folks can use all sorts of Logitech solutions that really fit their needs for the location that they're in. So
or even if somebody was stubbornly using a Microsoft LifeCam, you could still talk. I mean, that's a very good point to underline, by the way, which is that there are solutions that require you to have all the same equipment everywhere, and this is absolutely not the case. So Logitech is an exception to that rule.
Correct. So flexibility plus just the ease of deploying it. You can just get one and set it up, and you're ready to go supporting a conference of 10 people. So we try to make it really, really easy to use, easy to deploy, easy to support, and that flexibility you just talked about.
So I've now switched to actually being on the call using the CC3000 headset gone. And the camera's there, and there was somebody was asking in the IRC channel about how it handles with dynamic lighting situations. Well, my office is about the worst case for these kinds of circumstances, you're going to see. I have two sets of French terrace doors that are, let's see, west-facing, and a skylight. And it's just the time of day right now here in Houston where it's coming on noon, where the sun is streaming in the skylight. And so this is a color rendition now, and I can zoom out and kind of see what's going on here. And if I were to, say, just tilt over that way, you see some foam core that's covering off those windows, which is just keeping my shirt from blooming. But you see how the camera adapted to the shot right through the terrace doors?
Very good.
That's really pleasant. And the reset button will have the camera automatically pan back to the position where we started, which is back here. That's really handy. So.
Yeah, and what also you see as you're zooming in is that the camera is automatically autofocusing, and it's doing it very quickly, which is an important part of 10x zoom. So.
Oops.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did we lose somebody?
No. Carl was yelling across the office.
My bad.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Carl actually has a good question, which is regarding.
I can ask it.
Zoom. Go ahead if you want to ask it, Carl. Or should
yeah. So you were mentioning compatibility and remote pan zoom tilt. So I was wondering, are you saying that the pan zoom tilt function, since that sort of is, it seems like you're saying that that control happens over the sort of native to the communication channel you're using for, in other words, if you're using Google Hangouts, however they do it, whether you're using Skype, whether you're using whatever, it's sort of just your endpoint software has to be the way that pan zoom tilt is, the remote pan zoom tilt is controlled. So in other words, it's not happening out of band over some other communication channel. Is that right?
Correct. It is in conjunction with the application that because the application that's speaking to the device. So we enumerate in USB, and then the application says, "Oh, here's your speakerphone mic and your webcam." So it's the application that controls that.
I see. So, and there's no provision to have that PZT happen essentially out of band in its own socket. In other words,
no.
If my okay. Right.
Which is why, for example, they're offering plugins for the Jabber client and for Skype and for Link. The plugins sort of give those applications the PTZ awareness that
I see
to do that, right?
I see. Yep, I understand.
So, but what that also means though, is that the hooks are there if somebody wants to do something fancy like an interface to an old serial Visca system. The software hooks are there to be able to do that serial to USB interface if someone wanted to.
Yeah, and
the good news. I was going to add a caboose to Carl's question, which is, in that case, what if you were doing, say, 5 different people all on Skype or whatever, and you were using the plugin? The plugin is still really only 2 points back and forth, right? Or is it? In other words, was there more than one endpoint?
So it's not currently available for Skype, but on Link actually natively limits foreign control for just 2 people, one-on-one.
Okay.
So that's how Link does it. Video, on the other hand, they allow it for multi-party. So if you had 5 people on a call, you could switch between the different parties and move their different cameras.
Now that's interesting, and also it means that somebody could theoretically write an app for Google Hangouts because they use that technology. I don't know how hard that would be, but it would be possible to probably use the talking about something I know nothing
The interesting thing about all of this is there's very plainly a desire to use this kind of stuff. So the fact that the product has the capability is a great starting point. That people want to extend it just speaks to the fact that the product does something people really want to do.
Absolutely, and we work with partners all the time, and we also provide SDK material in order to implement a lot of the things so that you can greatly support this device. So our working with Video was just phenomenal, and they did a great job of implementation for the conference cam of not only the foreign control, but all of the conference ID, the caller ID, the answer and hang up, all of the things so that they could support it within the application.
I do have a question about camera resolution. And that is, in all these different supported applications, the camera, I note from working with it this past week, it supports 1080p, but it's still a USB 2 attached device. So could you maybe give us some sense of which applications are actually able to achieve 1080p? Because they have to init the camera in a fashion that uses the onboard encoder, right? That's sort of key to getting that done.
Yeah, so a couple of I mean, an example would be Link 2013 is taking advantage not only of 1080p, but also they're taking advantage of the H.264 on board, so that you don't need a quad core to get HD or full HD resolution. You know, there are others that are out there that take advantage of. We talked about video and others like that will take advantage of that. Today. We hope more and more do, because obviously 1080p resolution is, you know, is just a phenomenal experience. So there's a mix of those that are taking advantage just of full HD and those that are taking advantage of the 720p.
Right.
So I have another question for you. By the way, Ziva, we had about 5 or 6 sessions ago, we had the CEO and co-founder of Video on. Alex was on with us. And I mentioned that because, sure, if you're video, you could talk to Logitech, no problem. I'm sure somebody could cold call the CEO of Logitech business or you or somebody in the business-to-business section, and the call would be accepted. But if, say, I am a developer and I've got some brilliant idea regarding a Logitech Sirius Pro product, how would I get in touch with somebody? Is there a way to do that on the web, or is there an address you want to give, or how would that work?
I'm sorry, you mean as a customer or as a partner?
No, partner. Is it limited to partners? Like, as I say, video is a big and important organization. But suppose I have some very clever thing I want to do, even with Linux. You mentioned SDK, for example. Where do they go to talk to somebody, to present what they think they want to do, and then maybe get the technical tools to do it from Logitech?
That's a really good question. So we have a team of people within our B2B group that are focused on business development and are really driving that. So usually those opportunities come through our sales channel. So I would just contact your local salesperson, and that salesperson will put you in touch with our business development, and we can work with those folks on providing code samples, on talking to them on how to implement, and on some other opportunities. So I would just, again, contact the local salesperson or write into Logitech through our website, and that will come to us, and we will provide those resources.
You think, this is maybe a silly question, but these days it may not be, would it be even possible to contact, say, on Twitter or something like that, of the B2B, whoever's doing that? Could be Ann, I don't know.
Yeah, so with a team of people, I manage the Logitech B2B Twitter channel. So that's our account is at Logitech_B2B. And we're always monitoring and listening, and are happy to engage with you that way and get you in touch with the right people. Absolutely.
That's excellent, because I think that's one of the advantages of what we call the internet these days. Carl has another minor question. He says, teeny weeny question. Go ahead, Carl.
But if I can just one other thing on this last question. So yes, we work with Cisco, we work with Microsoft, we work with Video, we work with the big guys, but we also support the smaller groups that want to do work with us as far as integration. So anyone out there, if you would like to have a look at this and do any partnering with us, we would love to hear from you. Yeah.
And that, by the way, speaks to people who are working on Ubuntu or other, Linux, because Linux notably is not going to be served by major markets, but there are big projects out there, and maybe somebody is doing one. Okay, Carl.
Ooh, can anybody say PTZ control over WebRTC data channel? Yeah.
There you go. There you go. That's it.
Well, this might be a question for Michael or anyone. This is kind of an arcane technical question, so I don't know whose expertise this falls under. But normally if you have two devices that want to communicate with each other, you just open up essentially a socket or a bus or whatever, and you just start sending messages back and forth in any format. But of course, in this particular scenario, you've got some additional difficulty because you have a many-to-many control relationship. And so my question is, how is that brokered? I mean, I know that if you're using a product like Skype or Link or something like that, I'm sure they create a framework for you to to engage in the type of control that is typically desired in those scenarios. But obviously that limits you by sometimes your new usage case isn't well defined enough within the protocol of that particular application, and so therefore you can't do the thing you want to do. Like case in point, can't do PZT over Skype, right? So the question is, on a technical basis, how is that message brokering handled, or is it just not handled?
I think
it's a hack.
Let me jump in and speak from a Polycom user perspective. It's handled in the RMX. Which means that if you're engaged in multi-way video conferencing and you're seeing a sort of a Brady Bunch display, if you're going to have far-end pan-tilt control, then the system that's in fact brokering the video to you or handling the video to you is going to have a sort of a parallel mechanism that if you have remote camera control, it's going to give you that capability to select which camera you're seeing and allow it or disallow it. But in a lot of circumstances, when it's a one-to-many or many-to-many going on, it may just be disabled, which is what Ziva was saying with respect to Link, that remote PTZ doesn't work once you go beyond one-to-one.
So is this RMX, maybe I'm using the terms many-to-many. I was thinking of the Brady Bunch scenario as being many-to-many, but maybe it isn't because only one person is designated as the one who's able to control. But is the scenario you're describing, is the messaging pipe agnostic, or is it more like, is a user of an API more kind of
in all those
to check the feature list?
In all those situations, you're really talking about legacy circumstances, and there are H323 family standards that all define how all that far-end camera control is done.
I see.
And my impression, and this is just my impression, and I'm not an expert, is that a lot of that, or some of the core of that is what ended up being in the PTZ part of the USB Universal Video Class controls. That the basics of it were sort of just moved into that space. But H323 has long established standards for this, all in that standards family. So maybe we'll have to get somebody from Polycom or Cisco to come talk to us about all that.
Right.
But I wouldn't expect these ladies to dive into that.
I was expecting you to dive into it.
I could try.
I do have another question for you, though, in that I NFC paired my Nexus phone with this, which was the first time I've ever done NFC pairing, and that was a treat. Hit the little thing, touch the phone to it, tap in a code, beautiful. Now here over that Bluetooth link, once that's established, can I actually do a wideband call over that if my telephone supports it? Because it happens that we have within our family some T-Mobile Nexus 5s that are capable of wideband audio. So, and their onboard speakerphone is dreadful, doesn't even begin. So of course, pairing this to it and then putting it down, because my wife only ever calls my cell phone.
Yeah.
And I put the phone down, I bring that up, and so do we support wideband over the Bluetooth link?
So the speakerphone itself does support ultra wideband.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to get back to you if it will work over a Bluetooth line. To be honest with you, I don't have the wrong answer, and I'm not sure.
Okay, I will do the experiment myself over the weekend, and we'll find out.
No, but you've given me a good. That's a very good question, and you stumped me a little bit. It definitely works over USB and ultra wideband. I need to follow up with you. I would like to formally follow up and make sure it doesn't work over Bluetooth. Good question.
Sure. Thank you. Any other questions from the assembled masses?
Naturally. But I'll wait my turn.
Yeah, we've got one here in London. This is London calling.
London calling.
Hello, this is London here. Yeah, we're interesting. James here, and we've got Nia, who's flown in from Tel Aviv to be with us, and we've got Andy eating chocolate croissant at the moment. We're just interested. how you place this in the marketplace. Clearly, it's up against things like the Google Hangout for meetings product, but it's well above the price range and specification of just about everything you've done before. So I'm interested to understand how you decided where you were going to place this in the marketplace, just from a commercial point of view.
So we learned from our friends at Frost & Sullivan that there are about 60 to 70 million conference rooms in the world, and only 5% of those conference rooms are video enabled. So we saw an opportunity, and we also talked to a lot of customers who couldn't always afford to invest in a large system. And the idea, again, when they saw the BCC950 of being able to easily do a group call with 4 or 5 people, through their PC or Mac, firing up Google Hangouts was really very appealing to them. So we said, what if we expanded on our conference cam group and, again, offered a bigger device? And so how we see that placement, to go back to your original question, is we see an opportunity to provide more video capability in more conference rooms with a unique set of devices that can do this. So if you're a company that, let's say, has 100 conference rooms, but can only afford to equip maybe, let's say, 10% of those, with a full video system, we're providing a solution that augments, that provides the same or close level of performance using your PC so that you can outfit more of those conference rooms. So as such, those large systems that people may be investing in are much more than the $1,000 price point. We're offering a 10x zoom camera, a 1080p experience, a full pan, tilt, and zoom, and an omnidirectional 20-foot diameter speakerphone that can outfit those rooms and give you that experience, but at a $1,000 price point. So we see our category as unique. Conference room peripherals, being able to provide a conference solution, but through USB.
Okay, yeah, I think the $1,000 price point is an important one here. It's the target for everybody else in the marketplace, I think. I'm not muted. I'm not muted, am I?
No,
you're good.
No, Nick.
I think the comparison to the Chromebox for meetings it's sort of apples to oranges. If you look at the audio and video I/O that Google is providing with that product, which are Logitech and Logitech partners, by the way.
Yeah, camera.
Yeah, exactly. And Jabra provides the speakerphone device. If you wanted to use Chromebox for meetings in a larger room, you would simply take those 2 devices away and you would plug this into it, and this would become the I/O for your Chromebox for meetings. And so they're not, in fact, competitive. They're more complementary, I think.
Agreed.
Okay.
Well, that's very interesting, because that was kind of my next follow-up question, which was, what was the rationale and the decision-making process to making this a host device, not an IP device? Some of our best, most stable, most durable installations of whether it's scanners or cameras or anything have been all been examples. Success examples have been IP connected devices, not host connected devices, because the host platform is so rapidly evolving, and so to have a standalone self-service user appliance that kind of brings all of its own dependencies has proven to be a more durable design in our professional experience. So, my question was whether or not there was any consideration for making the device, an IP-connected device in addition to being a host-attached device. And but here with this most recent comment about the Chromebox. It's a little bit, you just take the 2 devices and stitch them together, and suddenly you've brought all your own dependencies.
Yeah.
And Carl,
go ahead.
Carl, you see this thing over my shoulder here?
Oh, let me put you in the middle. Yeah. Ah, yes.
See this thing over my shoulder? $9,000.
No, it's exactly my point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you say $10,000?
I think $9,000. It's an HDX 4500.
with tags.
I'm guessing they didn't sell very many of those.
I wouldn't know.
But yeah, your point is a good one. I mean, if you could, I mean, even if that device, were to have a, I don't know, video projector output or some $1,000 price point is a magical price point for sure. Yeah, I'm sure that the $10,000 price point of that thing is exactly obviously why it doesn't succeed, because I think there's a lot of people who don't have an opinion about whether or not that's going to add, whether bringing video to their conference is really going to add that much so as to be worth not only the $10,000 price tag, but all the screwing around with IT and making sure that your network connectivity is sufficient for real-time applications and so on. So a $1,000 price point for something that actually can be durable enough to deliver value, I think, would be a disrupting force in the market. Anyway,
the nearest competitor that I'm aware of is Vadio's huddle station stuff, which, if you recall, we had them on in January, but they were like 3,500 and up.
Yeah.
And there were a couple nice things about it. They did a good job too, but at 3,500, it's a substantially different cost than 1,000.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that the price point of the iPad has been a pretty good lesson in threshold tipping point price points. I mean, look at the Microsoft Surface versus the iPad, and it's you can spend $1,000 on an iPad, but I don't know. That's a complicated issue. Has lots of motivational priorities going into a decision like that. But the point is, I do think that $1,000 price point is a pretty magic number.
So a question for Ziva and the Logitech team, and I'll try and get others who haven't had a chance to express their questions to do that. Is this a different channel? How are we selling this? I noticed that there was an Amazon listing. Somebody had it listed, but it was listed a little bit higher than the price that was on Logitech's own website. So how are we going to market with it?
So we sell through a distributor and reseller channel, and we work with companies like CDW and other folks that also sell online. So we're in two different channels. We're in a general business channel, so with folks that are selling just professional devices all around. We also sell through specific UC channels, so some of the partners that also sell for some of our partners, our application partners. We also work for those specific unified communication channels as well. So it's those resellers and those resellers that sell online as well, for the most part. And yeah, there are situations where some of our products will be available on Amazon as well.
Okay, that's cool. So it's broadly available then?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, can we go back to something that Michael touched on, extending the PTZ and the other bits and pieces across WebRTC data channel? We just had a little chat about that here, and that's something that we could be interested in having a look at doing. What have you got in the way of documentation that we could have a look at to do some engineering with?
So we actually have. Sorry, we actually have code samples and some SDKs that we provide to partners that contact us, and so we could certainly do that. Not only about the far-end PTZ, but about other call control and other features of our products that you might find interesting.
So, what's the procedure for contacting you? Is it just your normal email address?
I think you may have missed a question.
I think I probably did. There we go.
That's one way to do it is on Twitter, and that's probably the easiest way, or through a retail channel. I'm almost tempted to say that we should probably talk later about maybe gathering up people who might be interested, and then just sending those references over to Zina and Ann and let them deal with it. That's another way to do it, is just to ping me, guys and gals who are listening to this, if you're interested in developing anything, and we can always make the connection ourselves. We're happy to do it. Anyway, I've put this been talking so that you can see that it says at Logitech _ B2B, and that's where you can talk to Ann, and she will connect you also with the documentation or whatever you need.
Absolutely.
And then they can be sure that this was an hour well spent.
That's right.
Great.
Okay,
All right,
we have
well,
no obligation. We have no obligation to fill the hour either. So let's go around the table, make sure that nobody else has any other questions, and if not, we can let these folks go. And they probably actually have adult things to do in their jobs during the day besides talking to us. So no, hopefully this has not been time wasted. James, anything or Near?
No, Nia had something to say.
No, you're referring to the fact that we have jobs. That is very interesting.
Well, you all do. Theoretically, you all do.
They're all theoretical.
Over to Carl Fife. Last question.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't. I didn't have one queued up. Actually, no, I take that back. I take it back. So, the camera quality. Watching Michael Graves over here, it's pretty exquisite. I'm using a so-called HD camera on my end as well, but I don't look as good, and I'm not traversing the internet. So, I don't mean I'm not as handsome as Michael. That's self-evident, but I'm saying that my data stream is more pixelated than his is, and so I guess I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about the resolution of the camera and the choice of video coders, and I know you mentioned that it had on-device coding, and sort of how that all relates to sort of making an informed choice about achieving quality video, at least video of the quality that I'm observing of Mr. Graves.
Actually, Michael, or Carl, you're actually not transmitting HD either, so that puts you at a disadvantage compared to.
Oh, let me see if I can change the setting. Is there a setting here that I can work?
You're probably set to auto, so for some reason your connectivity is not.
I'm on a Logitech.
I'm not seeing an HD on you, whereas Michael is HD and Ziva is HD. Yep. And I didn't notice from James in London whether he's HD or not, but.
Certainly, the question of resolution, the camera is capable of 1080p 30. The lens is glass. It bears the name Carl Zeiss.
Hey, I bear the name Carl too.
A glass lens is a nice thing.
If it said Carl Fife, I'd be worried.
But it would be very low latency.
That's true, it would be.
Yeah, and what also, by the way, what's nice when companies like Microsoft, who have just a very stringent certification requirement spec, which we follow not only to optimize for link, but to optimize across all applications. It really helps. At Logitech, we always get not only the best optical components that we can find, and we try to put in the latest technologies that are available to us in the market, but also by optimizing to get the best performance in 1080p and HD as well, 720p, and optimizing not only, so you see cameras out there that will say up to 30 frames per second, where we actually optimize and have to in order to get that logo, to get that full 30 frames per second. So from our side, we're a plug-and-play device. The application does what the application does, but we always optimize the 1080p to work at full 30 frames per second, and also get the best in, again, color resolution, not having any jitter, not having any noise, you see the reds are reds, the greens are greens, everything is as it's supposed to be. So that's what we do as far as providing those resolutions, and we hope also that the applications always follow, and that we can also work with these partners to get the best performance in video that we can.
Yeah.
I have to say that looking at the Venetian blinds just to the right of Ziva, what you're looking at there, you look at those straight lines. No, I mean that's actually a pretty good test. It's like a TV test pattern, and also the reflection near Anne, way in the back, and there's a reflection in the glass of what I'm not even sure what that is, but there are many lines there, and those lines are straight. They're at least for me, and I'm 5,000 miles away from you guys. I'm not seeing any pixelation at all, and they are transmitting in HD through the video. Actually, it's video who is the underlying technology. So that alone, I mean, actually tells you a lot. The colors are good too, by the way. So excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Randy, are we going to be able to use one of these for Tad Hack in Madrid? Because the quality is certainly better than, well, just about anything I've seen so far. So can we get one, please?
Well, we've kind of had this discussion, and it's really logistically very hard because there aren't very many evaluation units, and there's no platform in Europe at the moment for that. Of course, if the ladies had want to disagree with me and send us one, that's fine. That would be June 5th through 7th in Madrid, but I think it's actually going to be a tough sell.
Or alternatively, could we fly Michael over to Madrid with his evaluation unit?
That would be an excellent idea.
Oh, please.
And his wife, who probably speaks Spanish.
We do have a presence in France, Germany, and England. As a matter of fact, I work with a PR agency to help support this product in London. And if they have a spare unit in their office, you could certainly go to Brands to Life and test it out there. So if you want to put that request in, let me know, and I can try to make the arrangements for you to meet with them.
Okay. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Anything else from anybody? Who did we miss? Michael, did you you done? You finished?
Yeah, I think I'm done. I think I've expended my question list.
So all we need now is anybody on ZipDX have any questions? Speak now or forever hold your peace until next week.
Or tweet us and ask us over Twitter.
Right. Exactly. For those of you coming in late, check out the video. You missed everything. So that's it. And we've actually done just about an hour, which is a really good time to show off all of the qualities of this unit. Really, thanks, guys. Thank you very much for letting us test this. And we were really happy to have you back. And I hope that we will have you back again next time you have an awesome product to put out there.
Awesome. Thank you.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. And we will be talking soon. Thanks, everybody who participated in the Hangout. We are going to go to our after party. So everybody take care.